Welcome to episode 9 of Northwest Favorites, the heart of Portland wrestling. I'm your host, Frank Culbertson, and this is the podcast celebrating the wrestlers who weren't necessarily megastars, but who built the identity of the Northwest. The reliable mid-carders, the fiery babyfaces, the villains fans love to hate, the workers who made the Portland sports arena feel alive every single week. Every story you hear in this series comes from the Encyclopedia of Portland Wrestlers by historian Mike Rogers. It's available now on Amazon, and it's the definitive history of Portland wrestling. Today, we're looking at three very different men, each with a unique legacy in the Northwest: Jay Youngblood, Gene Kiniski, and Baron Von Krupp. Jay Youngblood had two separate impactful runs in Portland, one in the late 70s and one that helped stabilize the territory in the early 80s. Jay first arrived on September 4th, 1976, after working as the Masked Silver Streak in southwest Texas. In Portland, he quickly became a popular preliminary babyface, with wins over Matty Suzuki, Tony Russo, Sergeant LeBoeuf, Mike York, and Randy Morse. Even early on, his talent was obvious, and he teamed with Jimmy Snuka in some main events. Youngblood stayed until September of 1977, and then returned in October of 1980, and that second run changed everything. Portland had just lost a wave of top stars: Roddy Piper, Rick Martel, the Sheepherders, and Mike Popovich. The territory needed fresh top-level babyface, and Youngblood stepped right in. Almost immediately, he teamed with Joe Lightfoot, and within 3 weeks, they defeated Rip Aller and Fidel Cortez for the Northwest Tag titles. Jay then moved into feuds with Buddy Rose, Rip Oliver, The Destroyer, and other top heels. By the end of 1980, Jay Youngblood had defeated Buddy Rose for the Northwest Heavyweight title. He would hold that championship 5 times, becoming one of the key stars of that era. He lost a loser-leave town match to Rose in May of 1981 and left for the Mid-Atlantic territory, where he achieved the greatest success of his career before his tragic death in 1985 at the young age of 30. Gene Kiniski, called Canada's greatest athlete, didn't spend much time in Portland, but every appearance felt significant. He first came through the sports arena when he held the NWA World Heavyweight title, facing Lonnie Main, Don Leo Jonathan, Luther Lindsay, Johnny War Eagle, and Al Hobman. Strangely, Hobman, a lower card wrestler, got the title shot in what wasn't even the main event, one of those bizarre anomalies in the record books. Most of Kiniski's work for Don Owen happened up north. He made numerous appearances in Seattle in 76, 77, and 80. And when he returned in the early 80s, the wrestling world noticed something unusual. Kiniski, long known for refusing to lose in his home territory, suddenly began doing jobs for wrestlers like Seba Offee, Buzz Sawyer, Matt Bourne, King Parsons, Hack Sawyer, and Chris Adams. Age? Well, perhaps. Respect? Maybe. But it surprised everyone. In 1981, Kiniski wrestled Lou Thesz in Portland, a rare late-career matchup between two legends. Imagine that match at the Portland Sports Arena. Two world champions in the twilight of their careers sharing one last moment in the mat. Kiniski passed away in 2010, leaving behind a towering legacy. Krupp arrived in December of 1973. Don Owen avoided using the word killer, so Killer Karl Krupp became Baron Von Krupp in Portland. That's an example of Owen shaping his territory's identity in subtle ways. Krupp's debut was unforgettable. He destroyed Man Mountain Mike, a wrestler usually treated as a traveling attraction with great size and crowd appeal. Krupp knocked him down, stayed on him with kicks, and made it clear Mike wouldn't be standing back up. Fans took notice of Krupp immediately. Krupp racked up wins over Al Madril, Monty Zuma, Lynn Shelley, Tony Bourne, and others. He also formed a devastating heel team with Kurt Von Steiger, and in January of 1974, they became Northwest Tag Champions. Then came one of the great moments in Portland wrestling history: Krupp's feud with Dutch Savage. One night during a rainstorm, Savage dragged Krupp out of the ring and into the parking lot. Savage dumped him into a huge mud puddle, sending Krupp back into the Portland Sports Arena completely covered in mud, head to toe, even up his nose. Dutch remembered the moment fondly. He had mud up his nose everywhere. He was mad. I let him chase me around the ring 5 or 6 times until he blew up. I started laughing, and pretty soon he was giggling too. That's territory wrestling at its finest: gritty, spontaneous, and unforgettable. Krupp left Portland abruptly while still one half of the tag champs, something Elton Oden criticized in a letter to Dutch while Dutch was in Japan. Krupp headed to Calgary and continued his career there, and he passed away in 1995. 3 different careers, 3 distinct legacies. Jay Youngblood, the rising star who anchored the territory at a crucial time. Gene Kiniski, the world champion whose rare Portland matches still spark curiosity today. Baron von Krupp, the mud-covered villain who left fans buzzing every time he stepped into the ring. Their stories are part of the fabric of Portland wrestling. The passion, the chaos, the characters, and the moments fans still talk about decades later. Hey, this has been episode 9 of Northwest Favorites, the heart of Portland wrestling. The fan favorites and the fierce rivals who defined an era. Based on the Encyclopedia of Portland Wrestlers by historian Mike Rogers, which is available now on Amazon. I'm your host, Frank Culbertson. Be sure to follow on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and new episodes arrive every Friday.